So have you ever been in a job to where you were a frontline employee and you had a supervisor or a manager and they were hard to work with? Or vice versa, you were a supervisor or a manager and you were managing people who were just hard to get along with. Chances are you have been in one of those situations. But today I want to encourage you to attach your purpose to purpose. Because what happens is we go to a job and we get a relationship and we tend to attach ourselves to people. But from this story today that I'm going to share with you, I want to encourage you to attach your purpose to purpose. So what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about a story in the book of Mark, the 14th chapter, the 1st through the 9th verse. And I'm going to talk about how some people attach themselves to purpose rather than other people. Let me summarize the story for you real quick. So it was 2 days before the Passover and the Festival of Unleavened Bread, and the leading priests and the teachers of the religious laws, they were looking for an opportunity to kill Jesus, and they wanted to do it secretly. But you know what? The Passover celebration was going on, and they said, you know what? We're not going to do this doing this because we don't want the people to riot. And during that same time, Jesus was in Bethany at the home of Simon. And if you know anything about Simon, Simon was the guy who had leprosy, but he had been healed. And while Jesus was in Simon's house, sitting there, a woman came in with a beautiful alabaster jar of expensive perfume. And she opened the jar of perfume and she poured it on Jesus' head. Now, there were some people at the table who were sitting around and they saw this and they got hot. They were mad. They were upset. And you know what they said? They said, why waste such expensive perfume? This perfume could have been sold for a lot of money, and that money could be given to the poor. So they scolded this woman harshly. Jesus replied, leave her alone. Why criticize her for doing such a good thing to me? You will always have the poor among you. You can always help them whenever you want to, but you will not always have me. She has done what she could and has anointed my body for burial ahead of time. I'll tell you the truth. Whenever the good news is preached throughout the world, this woman's deed will be remembered and discussed. Some versions of the scripture says what she has done will be as a memorial to her. It's going to be in memory to her. And this is why we need to attach our purpose to purpose, and not attaching our purpose to people. Because when the people leave, if we attach our purpose to people, now we have no purpose. And we don't want that to happen. So what happened in this story that I just briefly shared with you? As you can see, there were several people in this story. You had the religious leaders and the teachers of the law, and they all had their purpose, right? And they thought their purpose was to destroy Jesus, was to kill him, was to kill his influence. That's what they thought their purpose was. And then you had this lady who had some expensive perfume, right? And from her standpoint, her purpose was to use exactly what she had to anoint Jesus' body for burial ahead of time. And then on the other hand, you have Jesus. And we know what Jesus' purpose was, right? To come and die for our sins. That was his purpose. His purpose was to reconnect us back to our Father. So as you can see, everybody in this story had a purpose. And don't you know what? In the work that you're doing, in the organization that you're working in, everyone in that organization has a purpose. But are we attaching our purpose to people, or are we attaching our purpose to purpose? Let me show you 3 things in this story in order to help us all to attach our purpose to purpose. Now, keep in mind, we're going to use the framework for the momentum mindset. And if you have not heard of the momentum mindset, it's something that I came up with last year. And the momentum mindset is made of 3 things: awareness, agreement, and alignment. When we can get those 3 things interchanged and interconnected and work in all unisons, we can have that momentum mindset. And when we do that, now we can attach our purpose to purpose. So how can we do that? How can we do that instead of attaching our purpose to people? Well, the first thing that we need to learn how to do is we have to be aware, because when we are aware, we're going to have purposeful actions. I love this story because this lady in this story, she had some purposeful actions. What was her purposeful actions? First of all, she had some very, very expensive perfume. Now, did she buy it? Did she make it? Did somebody give it to her? We don't really know the context of all of that, but all I do know is she had it, and now she used it from a standpoint of a great purpose. She wanted to use it to prepare Jesus for burial. She didn't put it on herself and walk around and say, I smell good. No, you know what she says? I want to use this in some purposeful actions. And she used it for Jesus. So number one, we have to be aware. If we have a purpose, we need to make sure we're doing something purposeful with our purpose. If you're not doing anything purposeful with it, what good is having a purpose? So are you aware of how you're using your purpose? Number one. Number two, we have to learn how to get in agreement with our personal acceptance. You see, your personal acceptance is always going to be challenged. Hers was challenged when they said, you should have used this, you should have sold this, you should have did something different with this. Are you in agreement with what other people say? Are you in agreement with what you believe God has told you to do with that? And you need to have some personal acceptance of that. You need to align in agreement with that. Because if you're not, guess what? Your purpose is going to be disconnected because you're not using for why it was given to you. And other people are going to say you should be doing something different. So you got to have that personal acceptance that it doesn't matter what anyone else says. I know why I'm doing this. I know why I've been given this gift. And I'm going to use what's been given to me to use it for that specific purpose. That's what she did. And then last but not least, we need to have some alignment. You know what I've seen? People are alignment at times because you know what they want to do? They want to have some powerful influence rather than a powerful impact. Well, what's the difference? Well, influence is all about possibly doing it one time. But impact is life-changing, right? It doesn't leave things the same. Because sometimes people want an impact and sometimes people they not just want to influence, sometimes people want to impress you, right? They want to say, oh, that looks good. Oh man, that sounds good. But you know what? That's only good for that moment. Because I'm to be honest with you, I'm not really about trying to impress people anymore. I used to be. I mean, how you see me dressing during these videos, I do this for me because this is what I feel like I want to wear. I'm not concerned about what people think. I'm not trying to impress anyone. But I really want to make an impact on people because I know that when I am aligned with making an impact, things will be different. People will be different. In this story, Jesus told us, he said, why are you all trying to confront her? And he's saying she's doing what she could. As a matter of fact, she's not trying to impress anyone. You all are trying to impress someone because you're saying she could have sold it and got a lot of money and gave it to the poor. See, you all are trying to impress people. She's not trying to impress anyone. She is making an impact. And how I can say, Jesus, in so many words, how can I say she's making an impact? Because every time the good news is shared throughout this world, every time her deed is going to be mentioned. What a great impact. Oh my goodness, what a great impact. You see, she attached her purpose to Jesus' purpose, and that's what we got to do. Don't focus on attaching yourself to people, because some people don't even know their purpose. Just think about that for a moment. You know your purpose, and you're going to attach your purpose to people who don't even know their purpose. Think about that. I want to encourage you today. When you go to your jobs and you're working for someone or working with someone you feel like you can't get along, you got to remember it's bigger than not getting along. You have a greater purpose for being there. It's not about how people treat you. It's how you respond to how people treat you. That's what I learned from this lesson. Yeah, people are sitting around and they want to kill Jesus, and now they want to attack this lady because she's doing something for Jesus. Don't you know even her, the attack on her had nothing to do with her. The attack on her was about Jesus. And don't you know when you get attacked now, it's not about you. It's about the purpose that God had put in you. You see, the momentum mindset, it just helps me to become more aware of these most important things in life. And then it helps me to get in agreement with what God has said to me. And once I'm in agreement, it helps me to get aligned, to focus on doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You see, I'm learning that so many things in life now, it really doesn't matter. It only matters because sometimes we give our time, energy, and attention to it. But what truly matters is your purpose. Because that's the thing that's going to live on when you and I are no longer here. See, that's what Jesus was explaining to the lady, and well, not really to the lady, but explaining to the people sitting around listening. Because the lady, she understood, because guess what? She was in her purpose. And don't you know, when you're in your purpose, purpose speaks to purpose. See, my purpose is not speaking to people out there. My purpose is speaking to other purposes out there. You see, if you're listening to this video right now, and what I'm speaking is resonating to you, it's not resonating to you as a person. It's resonating to your purpose. That's why I want to encourage people to find their purpose, discover their purpose, develop their purpose, deploy their purpose. Get in your purpose and let your purpose get in you. That's the thing that helps us to overcome procrastination. That's the thing that helps us to overcome what people think about us. That's the thing that helps us to overcome any mistake that it looks like we have made. But when your purpose shows up, your purpose says you didn't make a mistake. Yeah, it was a mistake in people's eyes, but it was a lesson. It was a lesson that helped you go to another level. That's why it's important for you to attach your purpose to purpose. So as you go forward, don't attach your purpose to people. Listen, don't try to judge people. Don't try to correct people. Don't try to make people do anything. See if their purpose aligns with your purpose. If their purpose aligns with your purpose, now you need to attach yourself to them, because it's not about them. It's about the purpose. And don't you know, this lady with this expensive perfume, yeah, we have so many different types of perfume out there right now, right? I mean, I'm not even going to go through any of the names. But how are most of us using those perfumes? I have cologne. How am I using that cologne? I use that cologne by spraying it on myself so I can smell good for other people and for myself. But what if I use that cologne for a greater purpose? Right? What if you use your perfume for a greater purpose? That's what we're talking about. And it's just an example, but in the Bible, that example is about how people perceived how she was using what she had. And I want you to know that people are going to have some opinions and ideas about how you're using what you have. When you know you're using it for a great purpose, don't worry about them. Continue to use it in purposeful actions. Continue to have that personal acceptance of who you are and be in agreement with that. And last but not least, know that you're going to have a powerful impact, and you're not trying to impress people, because that's not what it's about. So listen, as you continue to go forward, I want to encourage you to attach your purpose to purpose. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace.